right in front of me. But it's actually, it's serving a purpose. It's a capacity when you don't follow through with something.
Well, yeah, I tell people I'm not a big fan or a believer in the idea of self-sabotage. I actually think, we're all pretty intelligent creatures and we don't self-sabotage. We do, though, act consistently with our deepest held beliefs about ourselves and the world. And, when it comes to facing the fear, I'll do a practice with people where, and I don't know if we did this at your particular workshop, we might have, because I often do this. I'll say, okay, let's go around the room. Well, what's everything that can go wrong if you actually walk up and talk to a pretty woman? And, guys can quickly come up with 20 things.
Right.
You might get rejected. You might look foolish. You might get a drink thrown in your face.
What if she says yes?
What if she says yes and becomes your girlfriend? You find out she's a bitch and you can't get away. Or what if she, ruins your reputation? Or you marry her and you have kids with her and then she divorces your ass and takes your kids and your money. All of that could go wrong. From just talking to a woman. Or I say, what's everything that go wrong if you put a penis in a vagina? And again, guys can come up with 20 or more things. I might not be able to get hard. I might come too quickly. I might not be able to come at all. She might not come. She might criticize me. She might get pregnant. I might get an STD. And again, so I tell people working on our fears, let's actually look at what are the real possibilities of our fears, because those things all can happen. What might happen to me if I launch my own coaching program, if I launch my own men's program, if I launch my own podcast, what are all the things that might happen? Write them down, look at them. And if there is a possibility those painful things happen, there's actually a logic in not doing the things that would lead to that.
Sure.
So there's actually a logic in not talking to a pretty woman. There's a logic in not putting your penis in a vagina. There's a logic in not launching your own coaching program and podcast.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing then, once you write down what you're afraid of, you can act, and then that's usually then when we back away and don't follow through, and we call it self-sabotage. But I'm not sure it's self-sabotage. It might actually be rational behavior.
Right.
That if all these bad things could happen to you, why would you go do them, risking these bad things happening? But you can back away then from your list and look at all the things your unconscious knows could possibly go wrong. Some are maybe completely, made up, but some are very possibly very real. And so then ask yourself some questions. If this did happen, could I handle it? If this happened, could I learn some new skill sets? If this happened, could I bring in some new resources? If this happened, could I find a way to work with it by either getting a coach, watching some YouTube videos, getting a mentor, joining a men's group, self-soothing, learning how to set boundaries, being a good ender, asking for what I want, setting the tone. Are all these things I could learn and adapt and bring in to deal with whatever might happen, and then take the chance of doing this and the chance of reaping the upside of talking to the pretty woman, of putting my penis in a vagina, launching my coaching program. And if we know we can, and share this, by the way, with your tribe, share this information with your brothers. Because again, trying to face fears alone, again, even the little boys didn't have to go out and be put on that anthill or jump out of that tree with a, vine around their ankle or slay, some predator by themselves. The men were there with them. They had to do certain things themselves, but they weren't alone.
Yes, they were stretching. They weren't stressed. I love your diagram of stepping outside of yourself, stretching and building the strength in the muscles and doing it with your tribe beside you.
And then we can take on those fears. And as you and I talk, it's something I've been dealing with for a few years now. I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 years. I've known that I'm at a place in my professional visibility that if I get a lot bigger, if I get on a Tim Ferriss podcast, a Sam Harris podcast, if I get a lot more visibility, I'm also moving into that sphere of being more open to attack and being more open to being canceled and more open to, people that don't like